good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on what time you're watching this now. Today's Business Intelligence 101 webinar, starring Tyson Lawrence, is about navigating the depths of business growth. Let's get started with introductions. Tyson Lawrence, welcome to my quarterly webinar series. You are CEO right now of Diablo Freight Ventures, but you have come up and started so many businesses on your own. You know, so many industry names and pushed through so many different verticals to get where you are today. So how would you describe yourself?
Well, thank you, Angie, for having me on and doing this. This is pretty cool. So we've had a business relationship here for a long time, and so getting to partner with you on this is, it's an honor. So thank you for asking. But yeah, so Diablo Freight Ventures is my most recent business that I've started. Hopefully, my wife thinks my last, and basically, it's the culmination of my 25-year career in the logistics space. We do a lot of different stuff, from investing in venture capital funds that invest in supply chain logistics companies to consulting on tech space iterations in our industry, and then also just doing a typical freight brokerage, movement of freight, helping our customers, consult with them to help them move their freight the most efficient, cost efficient, time efficient way possible. So it's kind of one of those industries that people don't really know a lot about, but we help just smooth the rails and move stuff around the country and around the world.
Yeah, that's another reason why I invited you on. I loved hearing how far we align on these worlds, and how much I can learn from people like you that are just so passionate and driven to keep on improving, to keep on learning, and to keep doing new things. And like you were just telling me, doing things that make you uncomfortable, and staying out of the comfortable zone, right?
You bet. So you got to make yourself comfortable being uncomfortable.
Exactly. And so let's get more uncomfortable and under the sea today, all right, and do a little bit of a deep dive on BI 101 and Diablo Freight Ventures. So BI 101, okay, Business Intelligence 101, for you guys who don't know, is a consulting and advisory technology broker. We are here to help you with everything from consolidating your IT to vendor agnostic advice on strategic ways to grow your business and advance technologically, right? To advocating for your spend, for managing that spend and improving it year on year, so you're not wasting time, wasting money, trying different apps, trying different tools, and finding out these things don't work for you when you could have just called your girl Angie and asked her what's out there that works best for your industry and your specific business. We're your 24/7 extension for technology. All right, we're the IT lifeguards, if you will. All right, leading you down the path, getting your infrastructure monitored and organized. What does that mean? It doesn't just mean, oh, I'm looking at all your bills. Look at all this money you're spending this month. Good for you. It's strategically road mapping ways to advance your business, save some ROI at the end of the year, and use tools that are actually going to work for you long term, right? Automating services like your invoices. It takes about $20 an invoice for most companies to just pay them. And then the cost of missing an invoice is terror town. Am I right, Tyson? You're in the shipping space. If you forget to pay your shipping fees, where does that package go? Who's holding on to it, waiting for you to pay?
Right, it doesn't go anywhere. It stays put.
Yep. And then you're losing money worrying about that package, right? But in the IT space, we're your 24/7 technical experts, all right? Here to help. Always give us a call. And it's more than just when I'm talking about IT. I'm not just talking about, your security. What application are you using to secure your email, to secure your network, your computers in your office? I'm talking about energy, right? Your solar panels, your EV charging stations that everybody's needing this time of in the Lord year 2026. We're all going to electric power, right? those managed and professional services, services that you don't have an internal IT team. You need somebody to do this work. Who do you call? Call BI 101, right? In the space of artificial intelligence, Tyson, you were telling me last year, artificial intelligence was your topic of uncomfortability, right? You got to get in the space. You just have to learn, experience a few things, hear some horror stories and some good stuff, and take the knowledge to grow, right?
Certainly.
Yeah. And then we did a lot of that work with Diablo Freight. You know, we have a partnership that is super long standing. Tyson, I think you and Kevin met way back in the day at the start of both of your guys' careers, you know, and have been partnering
I'm not that old.
supporting each other.
You bet.
We'll
Kevin's a
see.
great guy. You know, it was interesting. One of the things that we got to do and be a part of was be in a group with other CEOs, especially when I was younger, and listen to all the other businesses that are out there and how they're ran. And, you know, I was always impressed by what Kevin built and what he was doing. And it made a lot of sense for what I was doing because I'm not an IT guy. You know I need it. I know I need the stuff, but I need somebody that, you know, can help me point in the right direction. So it was a naturally good marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. I know both of you guys are in that same boat of, you know, you find somebody you clash well with. It's a good feeling, a good vibe, a good partnership, a good friendship, you know, and then you support each other all the way through. You know,
You
and
bet.
that's what we've been doing this whole time, right? More than just being a friend in the business that can offer you some advice here and there, you know, you guys have been building off of each other, watching each other grow and seeing, oh, what's the smartest move Kevin is doing that I should be doing? And what is the smartest move Tyson is working on right now that I've never even thought of, right? And it was a transformation, right? We took your guys' email environment, the tools you guys use to make marketing material, keep track of client information, you know, keep track of documents, day-to-day reports and agreements, contracts, and put it all together, consolidate it into an easy platform for you guys to use with Microsoft, and then secure that environment, right? And then onboarding and offboarding is so much easier. You were telling me that it saves so much time when you can just email Angie, hey, Angie, take so-and-so and put their information up there. And I need this by tomorrow. They're a new employee. They need this, this, and that.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Getting employees on and off, you know, subscriptions of softwares and, you know, emails and things like that. Something I did early when I was starting my first company. So I realized kind of how arduous and it can very, you know, bog you down. So being able to shoot you an email and get that done is very helpful.
Yeah. Awesome, Tyson. I know you have a lot of good words to say about me, so I really appreciate it. There's some of your good words up here. You know, I appreciate that you find me as a reasonable resource. And I hope that everybody joining us today or in the future also sees you as a reasonable resource to go and pick your brain at. You know, you are super successful in the companies you've started so far, in the company you're growing now at Diablo Freight. And I'd love to know more, Tyson. Tell me more about you guys at Diablo Freight Ventures.
I think the aspect, well, thank you for that. I appreciate the kind words as well. And you know, this is, like I said before, a great kind of partnership that we had, because I think we do the same thing for our clients, just in separate fields. You know, you're in areas in which you have areas in your business that you're not very familiar with, and rather than doing it in-house and building it in-house, you can kind of outsource some of that stuff. And the interesting part of Diablo Freight Ventures is what I call my laboratory, which is where we actually move the freight. We have the relationships with customers to help them move their freight and consult and coach them on how to move their packages the most effective way. And a lot of people don't think about that until it's too late. You know, widget makers make widgets. They don't know how to move their widgets from point A to point B the most efficient way. So that's where we come in and we help, you know, explain how cost efficient, you know, to keep those costs down for them, as well as get it there effectively, safely, and all in one piece. So UniShippers is a franchise that we own at Diablo Freight, and it is a third-party logistics company. Basically, we operate in the middle of trucking companies and shippers, or carriers, which could be planes, trains, boats, any other way of moving freight. We have those relationships and we try to introduce them when appropriate to the certain customers that need to move their freight. So UniShippers was founded in 1987 and basically was a technology-driven logistics and manufacturing platform to help do all that stuff. And really what we're trying to do is help businesses scale so they don't have to commit their resources to building something in-house. They can do it more. They're the experts to come in, which would be us. So one of the things that, over the years I've done, there's a lot of different types of freight that are out there. There's a full truckload freight that you see in big 18-wheelers driving around. There's called less than truckload freight, which is maybe a pallet or two of something. And then there's small package and parcel. Small package and parcel are just anything you ship from UPS, FedEx, DHL, any of those types of things, which are a lot of mom and pop, smaller size businesses. And that's where we really like to operate, is in that space, so we can help be a coach and a consultant to these small and medium-sized businesses and help them ship their packages. So UniShippers has a unique relationship with UPS. UPS years ago, really, if you want to ship a small package, it's duopoly. It's FedEx or UPS, maybe DHL, but really, or Amazon if you're on Amazon, but they're kind of there. UPS decided probably about 15 years ago that they were going to move away from trying to sell to all their customer base. They were going to focus just on their enterprise accounts, Nike, Dell, just the big dogs. They're going to put all their sales force behind that. And then they were going to work with their retail customers, which were the UPS stores, which most people see around town. You got one package off, you got to go drop it off there. However, it left that big, small to medium-sized business space open. And so they partnered with UniShippers for us to go into those small to medium-sized areas and educate customers on how to use UPS more efficiently, and then act as a customer service rep. So if you have any issue shipping a package, right now, if you ship 100 packages a week, 25 packages a week, you're going to get Ranjit in India when you call the 800 number. But if you're working with us, we're not only going to get you better leverage pricing based on the amount of packages we do overall with them, we're also going to have the customer support and help you through claims, lost packages, all the other stuff that may pop up as you're doing that type of volume. So that's what makes this interesting, and where we're more dedicated in looking at right now is people that have UPS accounts, FedEx accounts, things like that ship about 20 to 100 packages a week. If not, more, that'd be great. That's really our wheelhouse. So it gets into the stop paying retail type thing. So when you take those 20, 30 packages, sometimes you're just paying retail because you're going to the UPS store. We can then, we ship 30,000 packages a week. So we get pricing based off of that you can then leverage and get better pricing there. So stop paying retail, use our collective network, and you can get the purchasing power of a larger company and then drive better profitability to, your accounts. And doing that, basically there's an impact. You're saving money, we're reducing your costs, and, sometimes by 20%, sometimes even more. It just kind of, it depends on what it is.
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, each invoice takes so much time and energy and cost just paying the employee to do. Imagine if you're doing that for every single package, parcel, and freight that you're sending out, and then at the rate of one by one by one.
Right.
Versus, like you just described, using a value multiplier and condensing the resources that Diablo Freight has for the customer. And at the end of that, and we do have another thing in common, Tyson. I know that you guys also have a visual portal, where you guys can see everything in one locale, no secrets hiding behind any doors.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about this. It's high level technology. Actually, the parent company of UniShippers just is getting ready to close a big merger with a technology company in the space. Stamps.com is, maybe the most, the recognizable company, but basically using technology to help move the packages, but also reporting. Reporting is huge, visibility, and just making things simplified for you to be able to see, where packages are, how much you spending per week, per month, per year, per quarter, all that type of stuff. We can give you graphs, charts, all that type of information that will help you make better decisions. And then we can also make better decisions or help you make better decisions on the type of service you may be doing. Maybe 2-day ground air, or 2-day ground doesn't work, and 2-day air, or 2-day air doesn't work, but 2-day ground can work. And at the same thing, we can have those conversations and look at what the numbers are. So having a big dashboard that allows you to see all this stuff and kind of make sense of what you're doing and make better decisions is something that our technology is very good at doing.
Yeah. And then just another helpful resource. I mean, for the end customer, they're not, worried about where these things are or what stage we're in or, where my monthly cost is. They have it there, ready to go in the middle of the night when they're worried about it, or at 8 a.m. in the morning when they're checking in for their day, and just doing a resource log, right?
Yep, absolutely. You can, check any time of the day. Like we plug into their tracking numbers. So we track all the packages. That information comes in and it goes to a chart or a graph sometimes. So you don't actually have to click on the tracking number that your customer, but you can, either way. Basically, we just give you as much visibility as possible.
Yeah. And that's great, because then that's most of what the cost involves when you don't have a dedicated team for this in your office.
Right.
It just goes to literally the back office, right? Going down a vortex in the middle of the sea, it's gone. That idea of, oh, where was that package? Oh, so-and-so's in charge of it. Oh, so-and-so's in charge of it. And that keeps getting passed on until it's real dollars for the company. Right?
Well, and customers are so expectant of not only knowing where their packages are, but arriving on time, especially to their houses or to their businesses. We just kind of, it's really interesting. The process behind moving some of this stuff is much deeper, but it doesn't just magically show up at your doorstep. But we've come accustomed to that, of feeling like, and I am just as guilty of as also, I order something on Amazon and now I'm expecting to see it in 2 days. So
blind eyes to it. When it shows up, it'll show up. I ordered it. It'll get there.
Right. Well, then, basically, you want to, we talk, maybe what we're trying to do is eliminate labor. AI is doing a lot of this stuff too, where you're hearing about, it's eliminating jobs and back office work and things like that. We're kind of similar, and we use AI like most people, but really what we're trying to do is keep it to where you stay in your lane and be good at what you're doing, and you have a trusted partner to operate in this lane when you need that information. And that's who we are. We're that trusted partner, and you don't have to then bring that in-house, pay the person to be a logistics coordinator, benefits, health insurance, managing their PTO, like all that stuff. We're just another company for you to work with and be a partner as opposed to being internal. So there's automated auditing. We go through an audit, make sure that all your bills are correct. There's no overcharges, things like that. And then there's protection. There's ever a billing error, we're able to correct it, before it gets too deep. We just pay attention to all these different things and make sure, like, there's a missed package or a missed delivery date, we can get you reimbursed from UPS, as opposed to you having to take the time and chase that down. We got a whole team of technology that does that for you.
Yep. And I that goes, Tyson, I hear you speak. And Kevin just asked a great question that I was thinking about in the back of my head. Was, you mentioned volumes or 20 to 100 plus packages a week, right? Is that the volume of shipping a company needs to be, where your services are of value? Or could companies that are shipping less than that, a couple packages a week, get the same value that those guys who are shipping hundreds a week get?
Yeah, it's really about 20 to 100 packages a week is where the bare minimum is, and where we kind of enter in there. We can provide really, I guess, valuable resource to your organization. Not to say that we can't do it under 20. We have plenty of customers that do that. If you do under 20, still reach out to us. Let's look at it, because then we can maybe get you to 100. If maybe you're doing 5, we can help you get to 20 to 25 to 100, and so on and so forth. So I don't say no to any of that stuff. I just think the real value probably starts in around about 20 to 100 packages a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And then is that where you'd say your average customer is today?
Our average customers, average, it's kind of a skewed question because we have really top end clients.
Broad.
Yeah, we really have a lot of smaller clients that do, 100 packages a week or, 500 packages a week. But we have, we work with a lot of right now telehealth companies that are doing, prescriptions. So
Yep.
like peptides and GLP-1s, things like that, you can get now prescribed over the internet, and then the package gets shipped to you. So we work with compounding pharmacies to send out their packages, and they'll send out 600 shipments, 800 shipments a day, 3,500 a week. So that's kind of a top range of where we're at. But again, we really like to work with small to medium-sized businesses because we can act as a coach or a consultant in an area in which they're not very familiar with.
Yeah. Yeah. More than just helping them deliver those packages, but actually plan ahead for the long-term strategy in delivering packages to their customers, right?
Right.
Not
And we
just
give advice on how to do it, whether, certain services are cheaper or better or more efficient, or, we do so much that we see so much, and we can then take that experience and be like, hey, we know that when you're shipping this, this cool pack that needs to be 2 days, transit, no more, these are the best ways to do it, depending on where it's going, the zones, the pricing, and all that stuff. And we can break it down to when you're not familiar with the space, you can overspend in that very easy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it happens in more than just the shipping space. It's happening pretty much anywhere, especially with how prevalent, your ChatGPTs and AIs are here to help you answer any question on the internet. But what it's really doing is going out and searching everybody's comments on the issue on the internet, right?
Absolutely.
So, you trust whatever AI says, and it'll give you a number that it found somewhere, and you just got to hope that when you show up to pay, it's the same cost, right?
Right.
When you can go to a valued partner that experiences these things on a daily basis, does this for their job, right? And can give you more than just, yes, they're open from 9 to 5. It'll cost this much to ship that, actual valuable results and advice, right?
Yep.
So we talked about that enterprise leverage. We talked about the centralized platform we both utilize, giving our customers that eye on the entire C, right? All of that spend. And then the financial consolidation of that spend through that one invoice, that one portal, that one place to go to as your true resource. And then that human element, you're not getting some providers outreach phone system where you're press 1 for, okay, press 7. Hi, I'm so-and-so, and I have no idea what this company is that I'm helping you with, but let's see if I can get that resolved. Versus somebody you really trust, the account manager that's with you the whole way from your business start to the package getting delivered to the customer, right? To give you that helpful and relevant advice. We know you, right? We know you, we trust you, trust us, let us help you, right? Give you that
We're
leverage.
just kind of like I always equate it to football fans, or sports fans, or an agent, or music. We go out and operate on your behalf, and we use the B word earlier. We're a broker, and we basically, go out and broker the best deals on your behalf, and then we see it through. And then the more we know about your business, the more we can anticipate or resolve things quicker, because we know where to go and what to do and what the unique, specialties are with your freight or your business.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, we're here to let you succeed.
Right.
All right. Right. Give you back time in your business to help your clients and improve your business. All right. Without worrying about the back of house. That's what we're here. We're here to help. Genuinely. Right. Because I couldn't get across without finishing my cogs in the wheel. We're all cogs in that wheel, right? We are all in the ecosystem of, if the small mom and pops don't get business, then how could possibly Nike or Amazon do their job, right? They wouldn't exist without all of us using our purchasing power, using our vendor relationships, using our family and friends relationships, buying people gifts. It all starts real small, right? And then it cascades into, we are a huge ecosystem, right? Whether we are running our business or just living day to day, ordering off of Amazon, waiting for that package to show up and just saying, it'll be here. It'll be here, right? You have partners everywhere around you. Use your neighbor. You have resources. The ecosystem can grow. And true scalability is achieved by strategizing every little piece of that puzzle, right? Multiplying that by all of it together and pushing power through so your operations are fluid, right? And with that, that comes to the end of my presentation today, ending a little early. So if you have questions, please throw them in. But Tyson, customers want to reach out to me, of course, for technology, right? They want to reach out to me to get the next steps, have a little one-on-one and learn where I can help their business improve technologically, right? But if customers want to reach out to you and schedule a 30-minute strategy session and get a better idea of what they're doing today and how to improve, they can reach out to you anytime, right?
Oh, you
Tyson
bet.
Lawrence, T.
Yeah.
Lawrence at Diablo Freight.
Yeah, reach out. I love that. This is what we love to do. I love to do is, listen to businesses and help strategize. And if I can't help them, somebody else can help them, or at least it gives them an idea to start thinking about when they're ready to get there, or, just a lot of different things. I'm a business nut. I'm a logistics nerd. So I like to, put the two together and really just kind of have great conversations. So feel free to reach out, shoot me an email. We can schedule a call. Any questions, any further information you may need. I'm happy to get it to you.
Yeah, or send it my way. If you're shy and you don't want to reach out to Tyson, he looks like he's definitely going to help your business, and you're just nervous to bring him those problems. Reach out my way. I'll make the introduction. Always
I promise
happy.
I don't bite.
He is too sweet. All right. But thank you all for joining us today. Tyson, any last words? I think we're gonna end it early. It's just the few of us here, and I don't see any more questions.
No, I just appreciate the opportunity, and I love the partnership, and I look forward to hearing from anybody that has any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Tyson. I also appreciate your partnership. Love that we can bestie on this and work together to do a little webinar, and appreciate your insights. You're a well of knowledge that I should definitely be picking up more after this conversation. And I hope we can make that partnership grow.
You bet.
All right. Thank you all. All right. Have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll give you back the last 2 minutes of the half hour. All right. And enjoy your weekend.